The medical bay of the Galactic Alliance station hummed with soft blue light as Dr. Marcus Chen checked his equipment one more time. He had been the station's human physician for 3 years now, treating dozens of alien species with careful precision. Each species required different approaches, different medicines, different understanding. Today's patient made him nervous in a way he had never felt before. The Zathran were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. Their crystalline bodies held memories that stretched back thousands of years. They were respected, feared, and utterly mysterious. Most species only saw them during high council meetings or diplomatic ceremonies. They rarely got sick, and when they did, they never sought help from outsiders. Until today, Marcus stood as the doors opened. 2 Zathran guards entered first, their bodies gleaming like cut diamonds, refracting the medical bay's lights into dancing rainbows across the walls. Between them floated a smaller Zathran, no bigger than a human child. The young one's crystalline surface was clouded, patches of gray spreading across what should have been clear and bright. "Dr. Chen," the larger guard spoke, her voice like wind chimes in a storm. "This is Prince Kurath. He is very ill." "How long has he been like this?" Marcus asked. 3 days, the guard replied. "Our healers cannot help. The council sent us here because you have treated many species. You find solutions where others see only problems." The Zathran were trusting him with their prince. One wrong move could create an incident that might echo across the galaxy for generations. "I need to scan him," Marcus said. "It will not hurt." Marcus activated his scanner, running it slowly over the young prince's trembling form. The readings made his heart sink. The Zathran body was made of living crystal that conducted energy like blood through veins. Something was blocking that flow. The prince was essentially suffocating, unable to process the energy his body needed to survive. "Can you help him?" the smaller guard asked. His voice held something Marcus recognized despite all the alien differences. Fear, the fear of losing someone precious. "I will try," Marcus said honestly. "But I need information. What does he eat? What is his environment like? Has anything changed recently?" They lived in chambers that shifted through various light spectrums throughout their day. Prince Kurath had recently moved to new quarters in the royal palace, preparing for his coming-of-age ceremony. Marcus thought quickly. The new quarters. What kind of lighting did they have? Different colors, different wavelengths. The pure white light is too uniform. His body cannot process it properly. He is starving in the middle of plenty. So rare. It will take time. Yellow for balance. Each color held for the right amount of time before flowing into the next. Prince Kurath remained in the medical bay while the guards watched. Marcus stayed too, monitoring every change, every flicker in the young prince's crystalline body. He ate his meals there. He slept in a chair. The guards said nothing, but they noticed. On the second day, the gray patches began to shrink. The cracks started to seal. By the 3rd day, Prince Kurath's surface had regained some of its clarity. By the 5th day, the young prince floated on his own, his light steady and bright. "You saved him," the larger guard said, and Marcus heard wonder in her wind chime voice. "I just listened," Marcus replied, "and I paid attention." "You stayed with him. You did not leave even to rest properly. Why?" "That is what people should do. That sometimes the most advanced medicine is simply refusing to give up. That sometimes the most powerful technology is compassion. We just have to choose to use them." "Thank you," the prince said in a voice like distant bells, his first words since arriving. Marcus felt something shift in that moment, something important. 2 weeks passed after Prince Kurath returned home. Marcus continued his regular work at the medical station, treating the usual variety of patients. Feathered Avics with respiratory problems, scaled Torvans with mineral deficiencies, furry Pelxians with seasonal allergies. Each day was different, each patient a new puzzle to solve. Then the message arrived. Marcus was examining a Pelxian trader's infected paw when his communication device chimed. The message was marked with the highest priority seal he had ever seen. The Zathran royal crest glowed on his screen in shifting prismatic colors. "Dr. Chen," the message read, "the Crystal Council requests your presence on the Zathran homeworld. A ship will arrive tomorrow. This is a great honor. Please accept." The Zathran kept to themselves, sharing space on stations and colonies, but always returning to their mysterious planet that orbited a star system with 7 suns. His supervisor was equally shocked when Marcus showed her the message. "You have to go," she said. "This could change human-Zathran relations forever. Do you know what they want?" It appeared to be made entirely of crystal, reflecting and refracting light in impossible ways. When he stepped aboard, the Zathran crew greeted him with respect that felt almost uncomfortable. The journey took 3 days. Marcus spent the time learning what he could about Zathran culture, though information was scarce. They valued memory, harmony, and light. They believed that every being carried light within them, though it manifested in different ways. They had fought only one war in their recorded history, thousands of years ago, and the memory of it still pained them. When the ship entered the Zathran system, Marcus pressed his face to the viewport and gasped. 7 suns of different colors hung in the sky, creating a symphony of light that danced across the crystal planet below. The planet itself seemed to sing, each structure and formation catching the light and throwing it back in new patterns. They landed in the capital city, a place called Luminara. Marcus stepped onto the platform and felt warmth beneath his feet. The ground was crystal too, but it pulsed with gentle heat. Zathran of all sizes floated through the streets, their bodies creating moving rainbows wherever they went. Prince Kurath was waiting for him, now fully recovered and glowing with vibrant health. Beside him stood a massive Zathran whose body held flecks of gold within the crystal. The light around this one seemed brighter, more intense. "Dr. Chen," Prince Kurath's voice rang with joy. "Welcome to my home. This is my father, King Verath. I learned that from treating different species." Inside, 12 ancient Zathran floated in a circle, their bodies holding the colors of centuries. These were the eldest, the memory keepers, the ones who guided their entire civilization. Marcus stood in the center of their circle, feeling very small and very fleshy. "Dr. Marcus Chen," one of the council members spoke. "You saved our prince using knowledge and dedication, but we called you here for a different reason. We need your help with a problem we cannot solve alone." "Our people are old," another council member continued. "We have lived long lives, accumulated vast memories, achieved great things, but we are forgetting something important, something we lost long ago. Adaptation, change. We have become rigid in our ways. We solve problems the same way we have for thousands of years. When we encounter something new, something different, we struggle. You showed us another way when you healed Prince Kurath. You did not rely on what we knew. You observed, you adjusted, you tried new things. In tradition, in the old ways, but the galaxy is changing. Our children need more. How to care with the kind of attention you showed my son. Teach our healers to see what you see, to question what we assume, to try what we fear. When you could have given up, you kept trying. That is not just skill. That is something deeper. That is what we need to learn." He thought about the young prince, about the guards who had trusted him, about all the species he had learned to help by simply paying attention and caring enough to try. "How long would you need me?" he asked quietly. "As long as you can give us," King Verath replied. Marcus spent his first week on the Zathran homeworld simply observing. The Crystal Hospital in Luminara was magnificent, filled with chambers that filtered light in precise wavelengths. Zathran healers worked with careful precision, following procedures that had been perfected over millennia. Everything was organized, efficient, and beautiful, but Marcus noticed something troubling. When a young Zathran arrived with symptoms the healers had not seen before, they spent hours consulting ancient records instead of examining the patient. When traditional treatments did not work, they repeated them rather than trying something new. They were so focused on doing things correctly that they sometimes forgot to help the patient in front of them. On the 8th day, Marcus was invited to observe a difficult case. A young Zathran named Ceres had developed dark spots throughout her crystalline body. The spots were spreading slowly, and nothing the healers tried seemed to help. They had tried every light therapy in their records. They had adjusted her environment in every traditional way. Nothing worked. Marcus watched as 3 senior healers discussed the case, debating which ancient treatment to attempt next. Ceres floated nearby, her light growing dimmer each day, but the healers barely looked at her. They were too busy searching their memory banks. "May I ask a question?" Marcus said softly. The healers turned to him. They had been polite but distant since his arrival, uncertain about this soft alien who claimed to have something to teach them. "Speak, Dr. Chen," the lead healer said. "Have you asked Ceres what changed before she got sick?" Sometimes patients know things that do not appear in records. Can you tell me if anything was different before you got sick? Anything at all, even if it seems unimportant. We use vibrations to create patterns in crystal. Could sustained low-frequency vibrations affect Zathrin crystal structure? May I try something? The spots formed along stress lines where the crystal structure had been weakened by sustained vibrations. Her body is not sick, Marcus explained. It is damaged by the sound frequencies, like how a glass can shatter from the right tone but slower. She needs rest from the vibrations and specific light therapy to help the crystal structure repair itself. He also suggested Sarah stop the music lessons until she was fully healed. 3 days later, the dark spots began to fade. Within a week, Saris was almost fully recovered. The healers watched in amazement. "You solved it so quickly," one of the younger healers said. "How did you know what to do?" "If I had been wrong, I would have tried something else. The important thing was to keep trying. We value perfection so much that we fear anything uncertain." More healers began approaching Marcus, asking questions, not about specific treatments, but about how to think differently, how to observe, how to question, how to try. Marcus started teaching small groups. He did not teach them human medicine. Instead, he taught them to look at patients as individuals rather than just cases, to ask questions instead of assuming answers, to be curious about exceptions rather than forcing them to fit patterns. A healer named Thoros became particularly interested. He was young by Zathrin standards, only 300 years old and eager to learn new approaches. "Our people believe knowledge comes from memory," Thoros said one day. "The older you are, the more you know, the wiser you become, but you are young and you see things we miss." How? So Marcus did. He taught Thoros to ask why treatments worked, not just how to perform them, to observe what made each patient unique, to wonder about connections between things that seemed unrelated, to be comfortable with uncertainty. Thoros proved to be a brilliant student. He began solving cases that had puzzled senior healers for years, not because he knew more, but because he was willing to approach problems from new angles. Other young healers noticed. They began gathering around Marcus, hungry for this different way of thinking. Even some of the older healers started attending his sessions, though they sat quietly in the back, listening carefully. Prince Kureth visited often, watching with pride. "You are changing us," he told Marcus. 3 months into his stay on the Zathrin homeworld, Marcus received an urgent summons to the palace. King Verath himself needed to see him immediately. Marcus felt a flutter of nervousness as he traveled through the crystal streets. Urgent royal summons were rarely good news. When he arrived, he found the council chamber filled with worried Zathrin. The king's light pulsed erratically, a sign of deep distress that Marcus had learned to recognize. "Dr. Chen," the king said, "we have a crisis. A ship has arrived from the outer colonies carrying 37 sick Zathrin children. They are very ill, and our healers do not know what is wrong. We need your help." The children floated in dim chambers, their crystalline bodies clouded and dull. Some had developed strange geometric fractures. Others showed patches that seemed almost opaque. Many were barely conscious. The senior healers stood nearby, their lights flickering with frustration and fear. "We have tried everything in our records," the lead healer said. "Nothing helps, some are getting worse." The symptoms were different for each child, but there was something similar underneath, some kind of common cause creating different effects. "Tell me about the colony they came from," Marcus said. A colonial administrator who had arrived with the ship stepped forward. "New Prism Colony. We established it 5 years ago near a binary star system. The children were born there. They seemed healthy at first, but over the past year they all became sick. It creates beautiful purple twilights. A binary system with only red and blue stars would be missing critical wavelengths. They can store and convert energy more efficiently. But children who are still growing, still developing their crystalline matrices, they would be more vulnerable to the deficiency. So they are starving for certain wavelengths of light. The damage is in their development itself. This is too much for one person. It will require observation, adjustment, and lots of trial and error." Each team took responsibility for several children. He taught them his approach. Observe everything, measure constantly, adjust treatments based on what they saw rather than what protocols said. He showed them how to create detailed notes about each small change. The work was exhausting. Marcus slept only a few hours each night, moving between teams, checking progress, suggesting adjustments. The young healers threw themselves into the work with dedication that amazed him. Even the senior healers gradually began participating, their initial resistance fading as they saw results. The first breakthrough came on the fourth day. One child, a small Zathran named Pax, began showing improvement under a specific combination of light wavelengths. His clouded areas started clearing. The geometric fractures began to heal. It worked, the healer monitoring Pax announced, her light blazing with excitement. For Pax, Marcus cautioned. Now we need to figure out why it worked for him and whether it will work for others. The children needed not just missing wavelengths, but specific sequences and intensities based on their individual development stages. Each success taught them something new. Each failure pushed them to try different approaches. Marcus watched the Zathran healers transform before his eyes. They stopped consulting ancient records and started trusting their observations. They debated treatment options openly instead of deferring to the most senior voice. They celebrated small improvements and learned from setbacks. Thoros proved invaluable. His quick mind grasped the approach Marcus was teaching and built upon it. He began seeing patterns Marcus missed, making connections that led to new treatments. Other young healers followed his example. By the end of the second week, 20 children were improving. By the third week, 32 showed clear progress. The remaining 5 were the most severe cases, their development so disrupted that finding the right treatment was proving extremely difficult. Marcus refused to give up on them. He spent hours with each one, trying different combinations, watching for any small sign of improvement. The healers working with him did the same, their dedication absolute. One night, as Marcus sat monitoring a particularly sick child named Lysa, Prince Kurath found him. "You have not slept in 2 days," the prince observed. "I cannot stop yet," Marcus said. "She is not stable." "You care for each one as if they were your own child." "Our healers were skilled, but they had become distant. You showed them that medicine is not just knowledge, it is also heart. They just needed permission to use them." All 37 children were now on the path to recovery. The news spread through the Crystal City like light through a prism. Zathran gathered in the streets, their bodies glowing with joy. Parents who had traveled from New Prism Colony wept crystalline tears that sparkled in the Seven Suns' light. The children who were strong enough floated among the healers, their lights dancing with newfound energy. King Verath called Marcus to the council chamber once more. This time the atmosphere was completely different. The 12 council members glowed with warmth, their ancient bodies pulsing with colors Marcus had never seen before. "Dr. Marcus Chen," the king began, "you have done something remarkable. You saved our children, yes, but you did more than that. You changed us. They took what I showed them and made it better. We thought our age meant we had nothing left to learn. You, a being from a young species, taught ancient Zathran that wisdom is not just remembering the past, but being open to the future. They explore, they try new things without fear. 3 young healers have already proposed research into areas we never considered before. The changes are spreading beyond just medicine. Stay with us, continue teaching, help us grow." He thought of his own people and the galaxy beyond this beautiful crystal world. "I am grateful," Marcus said carefully. "Truly, but I think I can help you more by not staying. If I stay, I become the answer to every difficult question. Your healers will defer to me instead of learning to trust themselves. But if I leave, they must rely on what they have learned. They must continue growing on their own. That is stronger than depending on one outsider. If Marcus stays, we might forget that and just wait for him to tell us what to do. Share what I learned from treating other species. You could send your healers to train at other medical facilities across the galaxy. Exchange knowledge instead of keeping it isolated. You propose we open ourselves to the galaxy in ways we never have before. Think of what other species could learn from Zathran knowledge. Medical understanding grows when different minds work together. We accept your wisdom. You will return to your station, but we will establish an exchange program. Zathran healers will train throughout the galaxy. We will welcome healers from other species here. And you, Marcus Chen, will always have a place among us." It was no bigger than his palm, perfectly clear, with flecks of every color suspended inside like tiny stars. "This is a memory crystal," she explained. "It contains the knowledge of our healing traditions, translated into terms you can understand. But more importantly, it contains the memories of these past months. Every lesson you taught, every life you touched, every change you created, carry it with you. When you doubt yourself, when you face impossible challenges, remember that a human doctor changed an entire civilization simply by caring enough to try." He felt the weight of it not in mass but in meaning. The next day, Marcus prepared to leave. The healers gathered to say goodbye. Thoros approached him with a group of young healers who had worked closest with him. "We will make you proud," Thoros said. "We will keep learning, keep questioning, keep caring." The young prince's light shone brilliantly now, completely recovered and full of life. "You saved my life twice," Kureth said. "Once when you healed my body, once when you showed my people how to change. I will never forget. That growth never stops, no matter how old or wise we think we are." He thought about all the lives changed, all the minds opened, all the possibilities created. The communication device chimed. A message from his supervisor at the medical station. "Welcome back. We have 17 patients waiting and a Torvak delegation arriving next week. Hope you are rested,"